everybody, what's going on? Hope you're having a safe and awesome week. It's me, so you know it's going to be a Kickstarter video. First things first, before I get into my list here, which is about 5 things, I believe. Just want to remind you that Kilobad ends at 12:01 a.m. September 1st. So if that seemed interesting to you at all, if you want it, get on it. And now, let me get into my list today. So a lot of these have not even started yet. These are kind of the notify me on launch projects. Some of them I have dates for, one of them I don't. So if the creator happens to see the video, because you know I'm going to tag as many people as I can in it, put the date down in the bottom of the comments on either the Instagram post, the Facebook post, or the video itself. Most of these I just wrote the writers down. No disrespect to the team. That's just a lot of people to tag. So hopefully maybe the writers, when they see this, they'll tag their teams for me. I would appreciate that. Trust me, I know it takes more than just a writer to make a comic. Y'all are all super important. Colorists, letterers, editors, all that stuff. So like I said, for expediency's sake, as I probably take half an hour to do this video, I just put the writers of these on here. Alright, so getting into it, the first one I want to talk about is a Kickstarter called Gilgamesh Eternal #1. This is written by Cam Kirkow, and Cam, if you end up watching the video, which I hope you do, if I mispronounce your name, I tell everybody, spell it phonetically in the comments for me. Because if I talk about y'all again, I want to make sure that I have your name right. Don't let me get away with mispronouncing your name. So, Cam Kirkow. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm going to give you a brief description of it. Not exactly sure when this one launches. It's just got a notify me on launch button right now. And the synopsis is, witness the world's first story retold in the world's greatest storytelling medium. I don't want to spoil too much of this, so Cam has the opportunity to put this up here. I took a little bit from it. It's 2 enemies that turn partners who travel the world to conquer the most vicious fiends. That's the most vague I can get it without spoiling anything. I'm not sure if he has any covers up yet. I really think it's just a bare bones notify me on launch with a little bit of a description in there. But I follow him on Facebook, and the 3 covers that I've seen for this comic, they're super dope, y'all. Honestly, I'm really excited for this because I want to say that this is not only his first Kickstarter, but this is his first comic he's written. And Cam, if I'm wrong on either one of those points or both, feel free to correct me, please. I want to make sure I got the correct information for people out there. So that's Gilgamesh Eternal #1. The next one I want to talk about is one of 2 comics I have in here that they make me break my rule of only buying 1 comic, and that's because the pricing is so good on these. A lot of Kickstarter comics for a single issue, it's anywhere from $20 to $30 or $40, and unfortunately my job isn't one where I can just buy comics from Kickstarter, or I totally would. I'd be in so much trouble if that was my literal job. Hey, buy Kickstarter comics and review them and talk about them. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But this is one of 2, like I said, that makes me break my rule, and that is Gaslighters #3, which is coming out in October. I don't remember the exact date. This is going to be another one of the notify me on launch. I believe I only have one on here that isn't. But Gaslighters follows Zoe Chase, aka Nightmare, who's a half-zombie, half-human hybrid. As she battles the undead and tries to learn about her past, she's a bounty hunter, she's kick-ass. She really reminds me of, like, if you took Harley Quinn and a zombie and mixed them together. Just that attitude and that kind of look. But the character herself, she's super dope. I've enjoyed both issues that I've read so far. This is an awesome comic. This is one of those that when you read it, I know it's kind of taboo for a lot of people to say. This is one of those that I was like, I would love to see this as an animated series. I would love to see it. I know you're not supposed to make comics just so you can make a Netflix streaming deal or anything like that, but this is one of those when I read it, Kind of like most of the Kickstarter things that I read, it's like, man, this would make an awesome show. And this one totally would. So, as always, all the links for these are going to be down in the description. I believe they're all, except for one, on pre-launch right now. So you just hit that notify me on launch. That way you get the notification when the campaign actually launches. And it kind of shows Kickstarter that, hey, people are kind of amped for these comics. So that's also why I do it. Because I want to make sure that Kickstarter sees some of these projects and is like, hey, maybe we need to pay a little extra attention. I'm not exactly how sure Kickstarter works, but hopefully this helps out a little bit, you know? Oh, and before I forget, sorry, Gaslighters is written by John Stewart. I almost forgot, sorry boss. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Immortal Era number 5. Now, this is a story where somebody kills death and no one can die. And I said this in the last video because I think I talked about it a little bit in my last Kickstarter video. This one's written by Edward Davis. It launches September 4th. And from looking at Edward's Instagram and his Facebook, it looks like he's going to have some CGC 9.8 copies of the comic, probably as a, what do they call them? They're like the add-ons, I believe is what they're called. Yeah, I think they're called add-ons. So you can get you a 9.8 CGC copy of these comics. Again, this is a comic that I break my rule for because the price is just so good. I really enjoy the story. It is not your typical dystopian future kind of thing. It's interesting because things that happen to people and they can't die is really cool, and the story is really deep. And I believe that later on, I think Edward said he's going to go back in time a little bit to show you some of what happened before the 300 or 200. It's either 200 or 300 year time jump, and that's going to be really cool because there's some characters in the very first issue where I'm like, I really want to know more about that person. But yeah, so Immortal Era number 5, launching September 4th. Edward Davis, Finish Line Comics. So be sure to check that out. Now, my next one that I have is I'm gonna gush about these folks a little bit, and trust me, I've never read anything by Cam, so Cam, please don't take offense to this. The other ones, I love their work, but this one is called Postmasters, and it's written by the team of Garrett Gunn and Dr. Christy Blanche, and I loved everything either these two have written together or separately. I finally got to read not the first set of Broken Gargoyles, but I guess the second volume by Dr. Christie and I think Bob Sally. I hope I'm right on that. Really enjoyed that. Garrett, I've been a Garrett Gunn nut since Warcorns. My wife picked it up at the comic shop. She's like, hey, this looks interesting. I read it. I loved it. And I've pretty much backed anything he's done, anything they've done. Can't wait to get that humongous Good Boy tier that's coming in. But Garrett and Dr. Christie said this is more of a serious story. And when I talk about gushing over them, it's more on the lines of Garrett, because I've seen Dr. Christie's serious writing, and it's really good. She's so good. If you've never read anything by Dr. Christina Blanche, you really need to. Garrett is more known for writing these really funny, just ridiculous, but awesome stories. And this one's a little more serious. And if you ever watch a live stream or anything with Garrett on it, Garrett is very like, I just write stupid stuff. And for me, it's like, Garrett, you sell yourself short, boss. I enjoy your work so much. Like, you are such a fantastic writer. I don't care what you say. You're a terrific writer, man. Don't ever sell yourself short. I will back and buy anything that you write, man. So, enough kissing up to you. I know you don't really like that. But, so this one is called Postmasters. And this one's going to be pre-launch that, believe the actual campaign launches October, check my notes here, 19th. And this is kind of a post-COVID world where male men and women are kind of militarized and they hand deliver the mail. But it's also a mix between, I think it's a Kevin Bacon. Kevin Costner movie, The Postman, mixed with Resident Evil. So it's, if you can imagine, if you've ever seen The Postman and mix it with Resident Evil, so they're going to be fighting monsters and mutants and stuff. I actually got this ash can. Super cool. Like, I was hooked after the first page. Really cool concept. Garrett and Dr. Christie always write super interesting stuff, even if it's crazy and out there. So good. So be on the lookout for that. Now the last one I want to talk about is a campaign that I just saw, and I have the writer on Instagram. I'm friends with him on Instagram, or I follow him. Friends is Facebook. I follow him on Instagram, and his name is Frank Martin, and the Kickstarter is for his comic Pipe Creepers. It ends Friday, September 10th. But when I read the synopsis of this, I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to back it, and I apologize for that, because it's kind of, for me, it's a short notice. I don't know how or why I just saw this, but the synopsis for this sounds really cool, and I'm hoping he gets number 2 going, and he does kind of like the back issue thing that I've talked about before, where, you know, when you have volume or issue number 2, you also sell issue number 1 with it. I'm hoping he does this, because check this synopsis out, folks. Plumbers enter the basement of a creepy mansion and discover horrifying secrets on a cosmic scale. It's Super Mario Brothers versus Cthulhu. And another thing that kind of attracted me to this project is, I don't want to take away from the writers, the artists, or anything, but once again, it's a book that Dave Lentz has his fingerprints on. Dave is kind of like Cullen Bunn, where he is almost everywhere, and that's not a bad thing at all. But the logo for this comic was designed by Dave Lentz. Big fan of Dave Lentz. He's an awesome letterer, and I really enjoyed every book that he's been on. So make sure that you check all these out. As always, the broken record that I am. All the links will be down in the description for everything. If any of these sound interesting to you, go ahead and jump on that Notify Me on Launch train. Let Kickstarter know that projects like these are ones that you care about, so maybe they'll be brought to the forefront of Kickstarter, if that's how Kickstarter even works, because I have no idea. Anyway, that's going to do it all for me today, folks. I hope you stay safe. I hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you next time. Later, tots.